Melbourne is the capital and most populous city of the Australian state of Victoria, and the second most populous city in Australia and Oceania. Its name refers to a metropolitan area of 9,993 square kilometres, comprising an urban agglomeration of 31 local municipalities known as Greater Melbourne, although the name is also commonly used specifically for the local municipality of City of Melbourne based around its central business area. The city occupies much of the northern and eastern coastlines of Port Phillip Bay and spreads into the Mornington Peninsula and the hinterlands towards the Yarra Valley, the Dandenong and Macedon Ranges. It has a population of 5 million, and its inhabitants are commonly referred to as Melburnians, home to Indigenous Australians for over 40,000 years. The Melbourne area served as a popular meeting place for local Kulin Nation clans. A short-lived penal settlement was built at Port Phillip, then part of the British colony of New South Wales, in 1803, but it was not until 1835, with the arrival of free settlers from Van Diemen's Land, that Melbourne was founded. It was incorporated as a Crown settlement in 1837, and named after the then British Prime Minister, William Lamb, 2nd Viscount Melbourne, in 1851, 4 years after Queen Victoria declared it a city. Melbourne became the capital of the new colony of Victoria. During the 1850s Victorian gold rush, the city entered a lengthy boom period that, by the late 1880s, had transformed it into one of the world's largest and wealthiest metropolises. After the Federation of Australia in 1901, it served as the interim seat of government of the new nation until Canberra became the permanent capital in 1927. Today, it is a leading financial centre in the Asia-Pacific region and ranks 27th globally in the 2020 Global Financial Centres Index. Melbourne is home to many of Australia's best-known landmarks, such as the Melbourne Cricket Ground, the National Gallery of Victoria and the World Heritage-listed Royal Exhibition Building. Noted for its cultural heritage, the city gave rise to Australian rules football, Australian Impressionism and Australian cinema, and has more recently been recognised as a UNESCO City of Literature and a global centre for street art, live music and theatre. It hosts major annual international events, such as the Australian Grand Prix and the Australian Open, and also hosted the 1956 Summer Olympics and the 2006 Commonwealth Games. Melbourne consistently ranked as the world's most livable city for much of the 2010s. The Melbourne Airport, also known as the Tullamarine Airport, is the second busiest airport in Australia, and the Port of Melbourne is the nation's busiest seaport. Its main metropolitan rail terminus is Flinders Street Station and its main regional rail and road coach terminus is Southern Cross Station. It also has Australia's most extensive freeway network and the largest urban tram network in the world. Indigenous Australians have lived in the Melbourne area for at least 40,000 years. When European settlers arrived in the 19th century, at least 20,000 Kulin people from 3 distinct language groups, the Wurundjeri, Boonwurrung and Wathaurong, resided in the area. It was an important meeting place for the clans of the Kulin Nation Alliance and a vital source of food and water. The first British settlement in Victoria, then part of the penal colony of New South Wales, was established by Colonel David Collins in October 1803, at Sullivan Bay, near present-day Sorrento. The following year, due to a perceived lack of resources, these settlers relocated to Van Diemen's Land and founded the city of Hobart. It would be 30 years before another settlement was attempted. In May and June 1835, John Batman, a leading member of the Port Phillip Association in Van Diemen's Land, explored the Melbourne area, and later claimed to have negotiated a purchase of 600,000 acres with 8 Wurundjeri elders. Batman selected a site on the northern bank of the Yarra River, declaring that, "This will be the place for a village," before returning to Van Diemen's Land. In August 1835, another group of Vandemonian settlers arrived in the area and established a settlement at the site of the current Melbourne Immigration Museum. Batman and his group arrived the following month and the two groups ultimately agreed to share the settlement, initially known by the native name of Dutigala. Batman's treaty with the Aborigines was annulled by Richard Burke, the Governor of New South Wales, with compensation paid to members of the association. In 1836, Burke declared the city the administrative capital of the Port Phillip district of New South Wales, and commissioned the first plan for its urban layout, the Hodel Grid. In 1837, known briefly as Batmania, the settlement was named Melbourne on 10 April 1837 by Governor Richard Burke after the British Prime Minister William Lamb, 2nd Viscount Melbourne, whose seat was Melbourne Hall in T.